Hello, my name is Roman 3000. Welcome to this MPC 3000 tutorial for beginners and advanced part 2, which means there is part 1. If you are a beginner and you haven't watched the part 1, stop now and go there immediately. If you are a beginner and you have watched the part 1 or you are in advanced, stay here. Yes, if you are in advanced, stay here because you're going to learn some tips. I'm sure about that. And if you learn something, please subscribe and put a thumb up. Thank you. So let's go through the tutorial. Today we'll see how to mix the sounds together because the MPC 3000 has got an incorporated mixer. How to quantize your loop and your beats and make some swing like the legendary MPC 3000 is known for. How to use that secret slider, which is the note variation, which is very, very useful. And I'm sure you pretty never used it. How to loop perfectly your sample and how to manage your sequences in the MPC 3000. Okay, first of all, we're going to check what we've got in the MPC 3000 and I sampled everything you will hear now. You know how to do it if you saw the part 1 of this tutorial. Okay, so we've got some beats, kits, the kick, the snare, the hi-hats and the loop. Some shaker, tambourine, and the bass. Okay? What we're going to do with that first is to use the mixer. The MPC 3000 has got an incorporated mixer. Okay? So to do that, you go to Mixer Effects and press 1. Here you've got all the sound, the sound volume of all your pads. Here it's the B bank. Because I am here in the B bank. If I put the C bank, you've got all the C's. Here the D pads and here the A pads. Okay, so for example, that's the sound volume of my loop. The loop is in A13. Whenever I touch the pad, you can see that there is an arrow that goes directly in this pad. The arrows is just moving to indicate you the pad you're using. That's the volume, so you can release it. So that's very important when you want to mix all the sounds together, because even if you recorded with the same record level, the sound level is not the same for each element. So with that, you can mix your elements together, okay? You have to remember that that's not a complete mix, that's a pre-mix, because afterwards, when you're going to record everything in the tracks on your DAW, okay, to have some singers, some scratches, to make your song, okay, because here is the instrumental and here is your song, the complete song, okay, you will do the mix here, okay, so you don't have to forget that afterwards, when you're going to record each sound in your tracks, you have to put here again the sound at his maximum level. That's a tip, you don't have to forget about that. And remember, if you have a comment, a recommendation, a question, you can ask it here on YouTube or in my Instagram, this one. I always answer in English, in French and in Spanish. Let's go now to the tune, which is the most important thing, the most important function you have to know in the MPC, okay? In the first part, in the tutorial part 1, we use the tap tempo to calculate the BPM of our loop. When you do that, you can see that the BPM is changing, okay? So if I play the loop and I use the tap tempo, it says that it's almost 113 BPM, which is quite high, for example, for a rap thing, okay? For a rap, I would use like 97, okay? But my loop is not at 97, so I'm going to remodulate this loop with the tune, which is in Program Sounds 2. And here, tune, you've got it. So, if you go lower, it reduces the speed of the loop. And if you go higher, it's quicker. Okay? So for example, I want to be in the 97 BPM. So I go to the track 1 and I'm going to record my loop. Okay? I put the count in. I've got 1 bar to prepare it. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now I'm going to just listen for the metronome and put it with the tune. I wrote the count in. Yes, stop. Now it's too low. Tick, 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 tick. Almost. Tick, 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 tick. But it's quite easy when you put the beat before it, okay? So one tip, for example, I assign always the same sound in the same pad, okay? For example, all my kicks are always here in the A1, and all my snare are in the A2 or A3, and the HH is in A3, so that's better afterwards when you go to the mixer, for example, and to know everything well, okay? You can use the tune for the loop, and afterwards you can also use this tune for the bass. We've got our bass, but it's not tuned on the sample, okay? It's false. So you go to Program Sound 2, and here we're gonna... That's quite good, that's in the same tone. Okay, nice. Now we're going to see what I call the sample stopper, okay? For the sample stopper, you have to know that that's a MIDI. MPC means MIDI production center, okay? That's not audio, that's MIDI. And the MIDI is that when you tap the pads, you trigger a sound, for example, bass, but it's better with the loop. Okay, here. But you can stop it. It just plays until the end. I trigger and it doesn't stop, okay? And if I trigger it, it starts and it just goes on until the end. It's not like in the audio. In the audio, you just press play and you press stop, everything stops. You play and you stop. But in the MIDI, you trigger and it plays. So what you're gonna do to stop a sample, okay? Well, you've got two things to do that. The first thing is that you just put here Program Sound 2, and here instead of mono, you're gonna play not off, which means that I have to remain my finger in the pad to trigger the sound. And I release when I want. So that's a good thing if you want to stop your sample. There is another solution. The other solution is a little bit longer, but that's quite nice too. And that's a tip, okay? So what you're gonna do is, for example, to take a short sample sound. For example, the hi-hat, okay? You go to Program Sound and 7. And here you've got it. Okay, you copy it, and you name it like, for example, stop loop. Okay, enter and do it. You go to Program Sound 1 and you assign your sound in an empty pad. Okay, we call it stop loop. It's here, and you've got your hi-hat. We don't want the hi-hat, so we go to the mixer effects. Okay, and we reduce the sound, the volume. So when you press it, there is the hi-hat, but you don't hear it, okay? And afterwards, you go to Program Sound and 2, okay? And now you go to Cutoff. And there, you're going to choose the A13, the sample you want to stop when I press this pad. Here it is. And when I press that, the loop is going to stop, for example. And that's all. You've got another solution to do that. Well, what's the importance of that? It's quite important because you can use it, for example, when you have two loops, when you chopped your loops, which mean that you divided your loop. Okay, for example, I've got the normal loop. That's the entire one, and I copied it, and I cut the second one to have just the end. So this loop is going to cut this one. And this one is going to cut this one. So in this one, I cut the A14, and in the A14, I cut the A13, okay? And afterwards, I can do all the combinations I want. That's very important. Otherwise, your two loops are going to overlap them, and you're going to hear it. So to cut them, the one loop must cut the other one, okay? Looking for and waiting for the Quantize, the legendary swing of the MPC 3000. But first of all, we're gonna see how to make a beat and to quantize it, and what's a beat and what's a bar. It's very important to have some basic notions about that. So the beat is 4 times in a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it comes back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So you have 1/4 beats. Let's see some rhythm notions. So you've got a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a bar. But it could be 1/8, because in the same space of time you can do the double. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? But it could be 1/16. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 16. But it could be 1/32. That's the same space of time of 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm saying that because in the timing correct, you can choose your note value 1/8, 1/16, 1/32, 1/64, and everything. So that's very important for 1/4. Okay, so you're going to choose that depending on your on what you're going to do on your beat. For example, for the loop, when you record the loop, you record it at 1/8. That's okay. But when you want to make a beat, if you do a normal beat like this, that's a 1/4 time. Okay? You've got 2 kicks and 2 snares in the same bar. You've got the kick in position 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you've got the snares in the position 2 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's a basic thing. But for example, if you want to do, you cannot be in 1/8, because in 1/8, remember there is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you don't have the to-do. For the to-do, you must have the 1/16, which is ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. So you go to 1/16, and you can have your ta-tam. Okay, let's do that for an example. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? I'm going to remove the loop because it's just a bit disturbing. Okay, listen. You've got a pum-pum. Why? Because you are in 1/16. Okay? Afterwards, we're going to put our snare. Remember, the snare is in 2 and 4 position. Okay, count in 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now the hi-hat. The hi-hat, it could be in 1/8. Why? Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the hi-hat. Okay? So let's go to 1/8, for example, the A 1/8 note, and I record it. Okay, counting 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's the hi-hat. Now let's go to the Quantize. The MPC 3000 is well known for his legendary swing, which means that you've got like a human beat, you know. On the computer, you have always like a synchrony, which is which is quite robotic. But in the MPC, you can change that and do it more human. So how to do that? You go to timing correct. Okay. For example, I will apply this on my snare. Okay. Now we've got swing 50, which is the normal thing, and shift amount 0. I'm going to put here, for example, the maximum 75, and here 8. Okay. And I say move existing. Why? Because my snare is already recorded. Because you can do that when you record it. You can put it before you do that, and it applies it afterwards. Or you can do it afterwards when it's recorded, and you do it here with the thing we saw, move existing. Okay. So let's check the result of that. I put that it was later. My snare is going to pads to beats later than the normal beat. Let's hear about that. It's a little bit later, and that's more like human, you know? You could do it, for example, earlier if you want. So I go there and I go to earlier. I select earlier, move existing. So now the snare is going to snap just before the normal beat. And that's the swing you can add. So you can vary what you want with the swing. You've got here to select what you need and what you want for, and shift amount, that's the same. Okay? The more you put, and the more it will be evident. For example, now it's quite evident, that's quite the maximum you can use. But the best way to have a human drum, to have some human feeling and not so robotic, the best way ever is to remove the timing correct. Is that say that you do not correct. So here in a note value, I'm going to change it and I'm going to select off. And now the secret button. The secret slider, which has got a very big history, the note variation. Okay, what's that? Well, it can be useful for a lot of things. For example, for your drum. You have to remember that the Akai MPC 3000 was first made to do a rhythm box, to do some rhythm. Okay, that's a drum. Okay, so you're going to use it like a drum. Here we've got a hi-hat. That's an open hi-hat. It's when the two cymbals of the hi-hat are separated. That's not like the normal hi-hat, which is closed. And that's quite jazzy, you know, because the hi-hat is open all the time. Well, you're gonna use the note variation precisely to do both of them, to have two hi-hats in one hi-hat, in one pad, in one sound. Okay, so our hi-hat is here. You go to note variation assign. Okay, I play it, my hi-hat is selected, and you see you can choose tuning, which is the tune of your sound. For example, if I choose tuning and I play it, it's like in the SP1200. You can change the velocity, you can change the tune. Okay, I don't want that. So I select decay. Yes, that's what I want. Decay. Here I've got my normal sound, which is the open hi-hat. And if I go there, I've got the closed hi-hat. Oh, magic. So, like in a real drum, I'm going to do. Did you know that? So now I'm going to record the good hi-hat I wanted, okay? So, counting, never forget that. And I'm going to play first the closed hi-hat. We're going to do that in 2 steps. First, the closed hi-hat. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now I want the other one. And that's all. Have you seen that? I just opened the hi-hat and I did it again. And that's the result. Okay, that's better. We use the note variation for the beat. Okay, now we're going to use it for the loop. Look at that. Okay, I go to the note variation assign. You've got the tuning. You select the decay, that's what we used before, the attack, and that's the filter. Wow, a filter. What's that? Well, actually, it's going to be a bass bypass filter I'm going to use here in the loop. We used that in a period of hip-hop. We did that. For example, we used the same loop for all the song. In the couplet, it was in the bass. And in the chorus, we put it normally. The example. That's the normal one, okay? And I apply the filter. So that's what we used when the rapper was rapping during the couplet. And in the chorus, do you remember that period of time? And that's the result. With the filter. And the thing that is quite good is that you can do an automation. That's an automation too, which means that I can record the movement of the slider. I'm going to erase my sequence of loop, okay? Erase, do it. And then I'm going to do it. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's recorded. Listen. You can see that's an automation because it recorded my movement when it's the filter and when it's normal. And that's quite a good tool to use. And finally, we're going to see how to manage your sequence, because right now, in the DOW, as you can see, you've got everything with the structure, with the progression line, and it's very easy to see all the structure of your song. But that's not quite the case with the MPC 3000. Everything is written in numbers. That's quite an informatic geek thing, but that's it. That's very, I like it. I like to play with numbers. So you need a booklet and a little pen to do that kind of thing. Okay? For example, now we've got 4 bars. Here are the bars, okay? When you go to play, that's the first one. Here you press here and you've got the second one, the third one, for example. Everything is going to be in the sequence edit. I press sequence edit, and here you've got to insert blank bars, it will be the 3, to delete bars you don't use, 4, to copy bars, it's what I think, it's what I want. Because, for example, that's the structure I want for my song. In the common way, the rappers sing like 16 bars in a couplet, okay? And afterwards you put the chorus. And afterwards, 16 couplets. Okay, so you just have to add and make some figures. For example, you have an intro from 1 to 5, and afterwards you put your rapper from 5 to 21, and then comes the chorus from 21 to 29. And everything is going to do here. Okay, so for example, I've got just 4 bars. I want more. I want 16 bars. So 16 less 4 is 12. Yes, I did it. Okay, 12 bars. So sequence it. 5. I want that. But the thing is that if I copy 4 bars at the same times. If I want 16 bars, I do it 4 times. Yes, I did it right. So here, copies, I want it 4 times. Do it. And magically, you have now 20 bars. Why? Because you have the 4th first and the 16 more. So for example, the 4th are my intro and the rapper has got 16. So I've got 20. Now I want the chorus. That's easy. Sequence edit 5. And here I put some 8 bars for the chorus. So I go from first bar to last bar. Okay. And I want it 2 times after 21. Okay. And so I've got my chorus. And you do it like this. You do it best way. Okay. It's just to figure out when you want the thing. So that's a thing you have to get used to. That's an easy thing. Without cheating, that's the best thing to do. Yes. Well, that's the end of the MPC 3000 tutorial part 2. More to come with a lot of things to see more. And I hope that you learned something, even if you are an advanced person. And please subscribe to this account and answer me what you want. Put some thumb up and everything. You can contact me in the Instagram here. Okay, I'm waiting for you and let's tune.